Hello everyone, very good evening. And today we have gathered here uh, to talk about the initiative which we few people have started to connect for, and that is for implementation of AI in Bihar. Our main focus is concerned to how we can leverage the future and the scope of AI in Bihar and in so many sectors which you could see about. There are so many things where we have seen. Means we, if we, everyone who is means whoever is from Bihar or nearby area, they know that there are so many small things which are highly redundant and doesn't require that much manual attention from anybody. But still, we are struggling with that, and those are the places where we are trying to put our leverage, and we want to create our community who can actually help not only from the private sector but from the public sector. But for that we have to showcase our knowledge and information how we are going to do that. So in today's session, today's seminar, we have four different speakers who are going to talk about what all we can do about, and what are the current scenario, future, and the scope we can have in Bihar, because that is what we are looking for, and that is what our what our AI community we are trying to create. So there are so many sectors in Bihar which are highly, that doesn't require that much, that much of manual intervention, like which and in India we already have seen a lot of growth from the AI terms itself in the sector of agriculture, health, banking and finance, automobile, engineering, manufacturing, education, even in taking care of the natural disasters. So these are the main points which I have taken out where we can give our input for using and leveraging the uses of AI in these all sector. These are very prominent sector which where Bihar can stand out among every state, because these are the places where uh, you know our intellectual mind can help to bring up our complete state in good terms on the map. So these are some examples which I have taken from either from the HBR or from the Accenture, even from QTech Technologies. So these are some factors which has been given with the specific implementation of AIs in a specific functions, or you can say the industry. So if you can see, they are predicting, the HBR is predicting about $40 billion market coming by 2026 in AI itself. Same way you can see in the fintech industry, not only AI but also I will include the blockchain technology, which is going to help a lot. Robotics and AI enabled robotics, plus the drone technology, as well as the GPS system, where we talk about the type of soil and how it is where we are getting more uh, you know means where we can have better understanding of uh, where what quantity of rain is going to happen, and what are the locations where we need more water. So those things can be predicted by using the AI and machine learning. So similarly, means if we talk about usability in Bihar, so as I mentioned earlier that there are a lot of sectors, means public sector as well as private, doesn't matter where we are trying to do this. Of course we have to start from a private side, but yeah, here you can see that the agriculture, one of the prominent and the biggest industry in Bihar, which earns most of its income from agriculture. This is where I want to start with. This is where my ambition is, that we could take proper care of agriculture. And second is the education. We have very brilliant mind, but the resources, the price of those resources are too much high these days. And these are the two places where if we can reduce the price and make sure that the usability of AI for these two sectors we are able to enhance as much as possible, then we will be in good hand. So by doing this seminar, we are just starting to create a community where we all together can go ahead and we can start doing something which can actually keep and make Bihar outstanding with other states. Thank you very much. That was from my side, and I would request Nand Kumar to, if he can take the podium and continue with his observations. Thank you very much. Thank.
I'm here to talk about the prerequisites. of AI and machine learning. Let me know when you're able to see my screen.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Okay, so like I said, I am here to talk about the prerequisites. What do we need when we think about a project? Where to start? What is our current situation? So in the screen, this is just like a starting screen, and you can see there are all a lot of top companies in the world that we have here. Uh, Apple, Amazon, Starbucks. What did they all do about this? It's all about data. Uh, Earlier, back 10 or 15 years back ago, we had some of the major vendors of database system were IBM DB2 and Oracle. That's all we could think about. Today, almost all the companies they are into data. And why is that? Because uh, gathering data is the fuel now. And you see, we have, for example, EVs coming up, and like most of the companies, like they have grown like 10 full times or 15 full times in a span of like just 5 years. Take an example of Tesla. How did they grow to humongous multiple times? That's all because of data. They have been capturing data for every miles that we travel. Uh, so let's quickly jump into the other slide. What is the prerequisites? Uh, let's talk about the project life cycle. So whenever we think about a project, like Chandan talked about agriculture or on the AI, machine learning, anything, first we try to understand what is the business issue. Uh, so uh, where do we stand right now? Uh, uh, Most of the public sector companies or the private sector in Bihar, typically if I talk about Bihar, I think we do need some data infrastructure as well. So if we talk about a data infrastructure, then we might think about what is the traditional. Do we have a traditional database system or data warehouse system? What is the need? How much data do we need? How much machine learning or AI can we implement there? And then that would ask us to go into the first channel, identify the root cause. What is the business impact? What is the current situation of our business? And then we can leverage. Okay, what is the data that do we need? Do we need a traditional database system, because or do we need a cloud based, if we have to implement a very high scale or very complex database, or uh, so uh, let's think about other companies. Like I work with a bank. It's an established company, and we don't have issues with the database or data infrastructure. It's already in place. So other challenges like on the strategy, like uh, the business leads, they build on a different strategies. Okay, we don't have any challenge with the database or data infrastructure. We already have that in place. So we have a current issue. Like for example, I work with a fraud strategy team, so we have multiple frauds that is happening on a day-to-day basis. So we collected those data from our infrastructure, what we have in place, and then we build certain strategies in there on the top of it. So think about on the AI or machine learning, what you can do with the perspective of Bihar. Uh, if you already have, for example, a system in place where you have all the data infrastructure, then you can leverage those infrastructure to further scale, further build on the AI and machine learning, to do some analytics and uh, try to make some profit, grow it from there. And so for example, some of the systems like uh, let's talk about the healthcare system in Bihar. I think there is a dire need of data infrastructure as well. Uh, Take an example about BCMR. Last time I visited last year in India, I went to the office and they just have just one or two desktop systems. So I think at least they can start with somewhere to have some servers or traditional, where they can at least connect to different hospitals. Take an example, you can connect to different hospitals. That particular registration office can connect to different hospitals. And one particular student I met, and he had to go to the BCMR, do couple of rounds to just get one certificate. So those are the challenging times that those all can be done pretty much fast. Uh, Here on the storage system that I've been talking about, the on the left side you can see traditional warehouse and database systems. Uh, 15 years back, most of the organizations they used to have the traditional data warehouse and database systems. And what was the challenge here? Some of the challenges that they used to face was this was on premise. So the company used to take all the overhead of its scalability. It is not very scalable. Uh, if anything goes wrong with the system, then it was on the company to get it fixed. And uh, computation wise also it was not very fast. So these are some of the challenges that this system had been facing traditionally. And as the data has been increasing and increasing, for example, we create YouTube videos, we create so many Instagram images and GIFs. So uh, data is increasing a lot, and it is increasing exponentially. So through with time, the organization they realize that these kind of servers and database systems, data warehouse system, that is we need something else. And within came the then came the picture of different web services, Amazon Web Services. Right now we have Snowflake, which is actually doing better than Amazon Web Services. Then we have I have just mentioned four big players in the market right now, but we have many more. Like Alibaba is there, and even Oracle and IBM they have their own cloud services. So we need to really understand like where we are now, and what do we need. Like if we have a small system, then particular or maybe for now a server can do the trick. But let's say agriculture needs a lot of data, agriculture space, uh, especially in Bihar, since Bihar is uh, Bihar, agriculture is a major uh, part and major vertical in Bihar. So uh, yeah. So we need to understand what kind of data storage systems we need, and we can take it from there. Uh, Explaining more on the data storage, we need to understand like how we actually use the data that is used for data science, machine learning, or AI. So typically when I have just put my experience what I used to work with Amazon. uh, so Amazon has a very big cloud service, Amazon Web Services, and this is how we used to have and we used to procure and use the data. So for example, we had a data lake. So data lake is like the name of the data lake was Andes. And uh, and uh, uh, it has just a raw data, like without just like a data dump. And on the middle vertical, we had a data clusters. What you have in market is Redshift. So Amazon uses Redshift clusters, uh, and those Redshift clusters, for example, Amazon has different verticals. Let's say retails, music, ads. Amazon is in ads now as well, and then finance and products. So I was in products. Within product specific, I was with Amazon Alexa team. So suppose this is me, and I was using this product Redshift cluster. So I used to, and also yes, this particular Redshift cluster, they have both storage and compute. So I'm not dependent on the computation or the storage power of my particular independent laptop. I can use the computation of this cluster, and this cluster is scalable. Actually, I didn't do the slide mode, so but yeah, you can see. I'll give you an example of this cluster in detail. But if you see, I can access this cluster, I can access its storage and compute, which is huge, and that is what we need for AI and machine learning. uh, for AI and machine learning, you cannot depend on just the power of your laptop or computer. You need a lot of data, and this uh, cluster is synced with the data lake. So data lake has all the data related to finance, ads, music, retail, and then you can imagine what is the capacity of the data in the data lake. And this is all not on premise. This is not on anywhere in campus. It is located somewhere remotely in the data centers, huge data centers, and they have multiple data centers, and like there are multiple data lakes which are synced to each other, so that you don't lose the data as well. So this is like a brief background of how the architecture looked like. So there are different team members. Somebody worked with finance, somebody worked with a music team. They can all access the single data lake through their independent clusters. And the good thing about this system was that it was very scalable. Let's see on the right side, if you see the picture here. So there was one, this is just an example of one particular Redshift cluster. So you see there is a leader node. So this node just what it does is that it it manages uh, all other nodes. The rest of the nodes are like compute and data nodes. So what advantage what we had is that, you see, we have two here. We can add as many nodes as we want. So that increase the scalability. And once you try to query or fetch a computer data, it it uh, it processes the data in parallel. So it will throw some data on this node, it will throw some data on the other node, and the computation is done in parallel. And once it is done in parallel, it is very fast, unlike, let's say, traditional IBM DB2 database. So that is what we need for the AI and machine learning. So it is, we need faster computation, which is provided by these kind of aid cloud-based database solutions, and scalability. Like, suppose if you still need more data, then we can just keep adding the number of nodes. And here we have the data lake, or we have different Amazon Web Services like S3. You can use S3 as well, or sometimes the data lake is synced with S3 so that a person can pull the data from data lake or the S3. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm just quickly going through this. I'll go to the. Okay, yeah, that is all from me. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, man. You really gave us quite lots of information, like what all are the prerequisites for a data science or the application which is rely on the data science. So as far as scope is concerned, so I'll take care of the scope part. So let me share my screen first, then I'll.
Yes,
So first,
Vinay.
first I'll give my introduction. Like I'm Raj, I'm taking care of the application, especially in the invoice finance and the European payments, and I have exposure of around 12 years, and I'll take care of the scope part, which is really need in the Bihar. So first, if we think the basic, like how what is the geographical condition of the Bihar or the area wise, and what all are the applications available into the AI, which can lead a kind of a big market in the Bihar. So if you see just the education sector or the health sector or tourism or even the medical devices or any kind of application, if you just turn around your head and you can see lots of enhancements are going on. So somewhere there is a chances we can do much more better, and AI would be the major portion where improvement can be achieved. So now first we talk about the healthcare sector, because as our colleague Nand and Chandan also said, in Bihar, if we see uh, the the infrastructure, especially in the healthcare sector and agriculture sector. So first we'll talk about the healthcare sector. We need major enhancement. We need much more data, and also we need much more awareness to the people, so that including AI, we can help our patients more more in an accurate way. So if we see where health in healthcare sector, how or where AI can be used, so the first example would be your image analysis in the medicine. So if you see the uh, like artificial intelligence is the changing the way the healthcare sector is delivered across the world, and it has been playing a crucial role in dealing with if you see the coronavirus time, virus time, at that time more often we used to take care of the applications and try to trace the area which are more infected by that virus. So also we can say, so if you see the image analysis in medicine, so you would have seen the medical images processing where you could see the 3D images. Sometimes you could have seen the 2D image as well. So if we consider these two kind of images, we can read those images, we can show our interest, how it has been created, how it can be improved. So by seeing those images with the help of AI, we could come to a place where we can easily, or even doctors can easily predict what is the condition of a patient and how it could be a better. So these are the things can easily be done with the help of AI, especially in the image analysis sector. You could have seen in the genetics and genomics. So let's say a doctor is taking a person faces using their facial analysis, and they are and the they are offering some programs which runs and it gives the accurate identify the what kind of genetic disorder that patient has, or even you can say what kind of problem he is facing, or there are a couple of more disease available which can be easily achievable using this kind of techniques. We can see the drug development, uh, we are already having some kind of samples available in the market, and if you see the process of creating the medicine, it's very difficult and also a time consuming process. So it can be easily achievable in a disciplined order using this AI techniques, because there would not be any kind of biasness. So these are the scopes in the health sector. Not only these three, we have couple more as well, where it can be done. Like you could have seen to detect the tumor where uh, it's in the body, or there are some chatbots available. Let's say you need some help from a doctor, and it's let's say midnight, and any doctors are not available. So based on some your you can write your own query into the that health boards, and it will give you your it will give you the answer in a precise way, which will not be a kind of 100% accurate, but yes, it would be more accurate. It would be more you can say that accuracy would be lies between the 90 to 95%. So yes, this is a kind of virtual assistance where it can be easily easily reach to the person who are either far from the doctors or from the hospitals. So these are the major area in the healthcare sector where AI can be used, and it will help the person, especially in the rural areas, uh, they can do it in a better way. Now, if we talk about the agriculture, as our colleague Chandan Anand had said that agriculture and is the basic. Agriculture is the main sector, who gives the revenue to this state. So, if we think about this agriculture, especially, so like we, although farmers are giving their best, but due to the lack of resources available, or they don't have such kind of support, in terms of accessing the financial services, let's say loan or insurance or capacity building, or you can say with their income, they already are under pressure. Farmers are unable to modernize the agriculture practices to improve their yields. So yes, so demand for the food continues uh, day by day, and population also increases. So if we see these productivity challenges, especially in the agriculture sector, so it needs a kind of urgent solutions. So basic food security is achieved here by changing the consumer preferences, and it can lead in the demand of healthy, fresh, and nutritious food uh, just to the person. So if we see in this case, if we just achieve the AI, so the solution would be enabled using the real-time monitoring, where farm will help farmers, deploying the corrective measures on time. You can take one example like early disease detection in the crops, or monitoring the soil moisture level, in terms of optimizing the field. So yes, smart farming, it helps the farmers monitor the relevant parameters continuously through the IoT-enabled solutions. So yes, these are the solutions, and or you can say way where farmers can automate and optimize their process, such as pesticides, spraying the pesticides or insecticides, irrigating, or they can check the soil on the time. So these are the activity which they can perform, and they can save their costs as well. So yes, this really can boost the agriculture sector, especially the farmers whose income are very less. So if they could use the couple of advanced machines, like which can predict the weather, which can predict the quality of the soil, or the which the time, or the duration where that farmers can farm. So yes, these would be a kind of a kind of a good or would be a kind of game changer, especially in the farming field. Uh, Medicine or healthcare sector and agriculture are the major challenge, especially in the Bihar. But this is not the only challenges we have, and it can be uh, can be undertaken by the AI. But yes, we have few more, like we can detect the air pollution sources. So if you see the if we implement artificial intelligence and remote sensing technology to detect the key sources of the air pollution through satellite image, or you can say real-time monitoring, in that case you can easily gather the data which is really causing the air pollution, and by viewing the satellite image you can see which all area are much affected. You would have seen the in Bihar in around 2017, couple of law has been imposed by the Bihar government, where they they got to know that the bricks can cause 40% of the air pollution, especially in this Bihar state, and the domestic burning causes around 22% of the air pollution. So yes, these these are the major factor which is causing the air pollution in Bihar, and yes, it can be easily detected by the AI. If you see the judicial administration, especially in Bihar, lots of crimes are getting day by day, it's increasing in exponential way. If we if you see the manual way, it took much more time to get a kind of decision. But if we put a kind of AI which will really would be an asset to the judicial administration in Bihar, and how we can realize. So in this case, we need to understand that here as a service, or as a product, it could be effectively used to ensure that the cases would be addressed on the right time, in the right way, and reverse the way of doing, and it will save the time, the cost, and it will help the other person as well, who keep on moving the courts to get their justice. We have couple of more things, like power sector, where people are now these days more rely on the non-renewable source of energy. Although government are keep on focusing to use the renewable source, but we have some limitations. So if using the AI in the power sector, so we can cut the cost, we can accelerate the use of clean renewable energy source. We have power grid globally, along with improving the operations or maintenance or control planning. So it just closely tied to the renewable source, and it's necessary for a country or for a state to develop, where where most of the if most of the industry or the power sector just move from uh, non-renewable to the renewable sources. So it will save the cost at one time, but another on the other side, if you see, it will solve a couple of other problems as well. Like you won't feel much pollution in your area, and because of pollution, there will be, if you see the temperature are getting increased, there is a lots of global warming cases you can see. So yes, AI and the power sector, if we use, yes, we can boost, and it will really help the environment to look. The recent you would have seen the liquor rackets and all. They are using illegal things. Although government has banned the liquor, but it if we use the AI mechanism, it will really digitize the automate all the operations with focus for no longer need no longer to use the manual data. They can easily track the person using couple of algorithm running behind it, like they have uh, they have the image detection or object detection techniques, where if a person is doing any crime or uh, he has left the country or a state, so using these techniques they can you know they can easily search using the image detection techniques or object detection. So yes, these are the certain things which can really be implemented into Bihar, and uh, yes, our state and our people will get really benefited. So that's it from my side now. I will pass this to Chandan again. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So I am Prashant Kumar, and I'm just point out few things which Bihar at least needs to take care whenever we talk about future of AI in Bihar. So I believe there are three sectors which is more important when we talk about the future. So these three sectors are agriculture first. Second is the disaster management from the side perspective, because as we all know that in Bihar at least 14 districts which are majorly affected by flood each years, and at least more than 30 lakh people each year lost their either their home, or sometimes they farmers lost their agricultural product like crops and lands, all those things. So I believe this sector is also very important. And last but not least is the education sector. However, if we talk about uh, the district like which are majorly developed like Begusrai, Muzaffarpur, and Patna, so these are the districts which are developed, still very developed compared to other districts. But when we talk about some district which is far from the capital, so they are not pretty much developed, and education level are still at nascent stage at that in those districts. So I believe education is another sector which needs to be taken care, at least with the help of AI, because AI has capability to improve many things. And as Bihar is still at very nascent stage of using AI, at least like there are very few sector where people or at least government are using AI to for any decision making purposes. So in when we talk about the agriculture, so majority of things are already discussed by Rajkumar ji. But still, I like to point few things like in agriculture, what AI could do. So first thing, government either government should take care, or either some company or some private startups which can look in this area, like they can look for the uh, from the farmer's perspective, like what happened, the major concern for any farmer is the price fluctuation. Like whenever the crops grow more or lesser, the price fluctuate according to the market. So one thing one company can do with the help of AI, they can predict the scenario where how the price fluctuation is happening. So they can predict the price and then talk to the farmers like this is the correct time where they can purchase the grains for farming, or they can sell their product, whatever they have uh, grown, so they can sell those. So this is the one segment. Second is the intelligent spraying, which is very important thing. Like whenever there are disease in any crop, so there are some kind of initial analysis on that which kind of medicine, or which kind of maybe you can call khad or something like they should use, by which they can remove those diseases from the crops. So this is the second thing. And so these two segments are important, at least at this stage. Another segment which is like how predicting that which land is better for which kind of crops. This is the segment which could be looked in the future, far more future. And when we talk about the education sector, so in education sector, what happens? There is a company, there is a startup by IIT Delhi. So the name was Ecovision. What they were doing in Bihar, like they were trying to implement some AI-based learning platform in the schools, and where some PPT-based or sometimes some smart learning-based platform were they providing. They are the company were providing, and through which they are helping students to make some personalized based learning. So like they are trying to uh, present some topics to the students, and they look for that what they are learning from those topics, and then based on those learning they implement some another subject in that. So this was the another startup that they were doing that. So this kind of startup needs to be more and more in Bihar. Like from Bihar there needs to be some startup based on the education, by which more and more some AI based technology could come. And last segment that I was thinking of talking is flood management, which is most important. Either a government or some United Nations organization could majorly government could look into this segment, like how can they can use AI or at least smart detection to control those flood thing. Either sometime whenever they can monitor the rain, that how the rain is happening in each years, and then based on those predictions they can look for the flood management. So these are the three most important segment I believe needs to be very carefully taken in Bihar at least. So that's all from my side.
Thank you, Prashant. So, I would request if you guys have any question which for our panelists, so that we can answer. Have any questions, please?
First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizer who think about AI and Bihar, that how Bihar people gets benefit through AI. And I um, through the session I got that agriculture and healthcare are the major area where AI can help people of Bihar, and all of us almost agree on the point that livelihood of Bihar population is based upon agriculture. And one question which raised in my mind is that actually farmer is not well educated, and they are not very connected with computer-like things. Then there are definitely some other intermediate uh, sector have to develop, which transfer the information from AI users to those people who actually get benefited from. In those areas, can worldwide some development, if such type of information shared, that how rest of the world are doing, uh, the people who are not very well uh, used to these technology, because Bihar have some literacy problem also. You know that literate people are leave Bihar.
Yes, sir. So in this case, I have seen couple of solutions in my previous experience. Let's I can give my village example where more than 60% people are even not not well enough to even read correctly. So they are still using their thumb impression to withdraw the money. So in that case, I know this would be a major challenge, especially in the rural area. But yes, there are some information system. We can use some broadcast messages using some phone. You would have seen couple of maybe you would have seen some movies like where a person needs to pass some message, and he, instead of uh, going to door, he announced maybe to the nearest temple or mosque which is available, so that he can announce in their native language, and accordingly that message will be sent to their to the local guy. So yes, education is the key challenge in Bihar, but yes, somehow we need to accept it, and yes, we need to more work on the education, so at least the new generations which will come would have at least the ability to take care of their assets, to take care, to have the ability to take the decisions, follow the instructions, what machines are predicting based on the data or algorithm running behind it. So yes, we I think that would be the major, or would be, I believe, from my side, where farmers are getting benefited if they are not able to read or, or understand the message which they receive through the machine. I hope
And
it makes sense.
Neeraj sir, honestly, when we talk about AI for the for some specific sector, it is not necessary that end user need to have be computer savvy. We can use it. What our purpose is to make AI as an enabler who can give his its services to get a better output about what kind of fertilizers are required, what is the soil status right now, how much predicted rainwater we are expecting. So this kind of information we are trying to looking after. We are not expecting that each and every farmer is going to implement AI in his life. It's actually practically not possible also, honestly speaking. God knows how many years it will take to get a basic in education in Bihar, proper education in Bihar. People we have seen people are just roaming around here and there. You have seen the population in Patna, how much students are there. So understanding this AI not as a burden, but as an enabler to these sectors. We just want to implement it as a sector, as an enabler who can help, who can push their productivity, their lifestyle. They get the proper price for their product. They get the proper information where they can sell. AI can also give you an information that okay, this market wheat is in less amount. So those farmer who are already having a lot of, and they don't have good market there, so they can move there, or we can help them to move their product there. So this is how we are just trying to make it as an enabler. Okay, means education is always a problem, I agree with that, but we are also not in expecting that everyone will be that much tech savvy or understanding about the computers. So it's fine. We means it is just up to us how we are leveraging the facilities.
Okay, fine for me.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other questions? किसी को और कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना है? डोंट हेजिटेट, वी कैन, हम लोग हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते हैं. वी आर गुड इन हिंदी ऑल्सो. बस सेमिनार के हिसाब से हम लोग अभी तक थोड़ा इंग्लिश बोल रहे थे, बट वी आर गुड टू स्पीक इन भोजपुरी, इवन इन मगी. सो वी आर गुड इनफ. सो आप लोग चाहो तो क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो. So Satya, I think we don't have any other questions.
Actually, can I ask one question at the end from the
Sure,
panelist? Okay.
sure.
So my question is, I mean, how, I mean, AIML can help, the small enterprises in Bihar, I mean, to leverage, and they can scale up their business, and they can compete with the, the big enterprises. So how this can help us? And also, when I say small enterprises, I am specific to the startups. So this question is to entire panel.
See, if my personal opinion is that for any startup or any venture who are just putting their hands into the implementing AI for a specific purpose, it is necessary and mandatory that they know end-to-end process. Okay, means it's not only about creating the algorithms. Okay, we also have to understand the domain where we are putting our hands into. Like for example, if we talk about we are talking about agriculture, but honestly we are hardly a few people who actually know about that much about farmers or the farming, right? Means there are few who are knowing it already, but that's why I'm saying only few of us are aware of it. So it's not only about now other than your algorithms and the technical aspects, the domain knowledge is something which is really important. Without domain knowledge, means whatever the however good your algorithm is, it's not going to work. Third thing is having your you know what collaboration with the public sector. So I'm always doubtful about that, honestly, because the data what we have and I have seen, means I was doing my project in my college and I was trying to retrieve data for 2021 for the farming itself. Okay, I could not find a single date number on Bihar government website. Even on central government website, it was hardly a 5 year or something. That too from 2017 and back. So it's very difficult to find the data. So uh, from public sector or the government, we can take help by giving them the suggestions only. Don't expect much more from them. Rest we have to do. The initial phase of any project or any startup, it starts with the requirement, then with what we the data what we are looking for, do we have it or not? If we don't have, we have to create it. It will take longer time, maybe 7 months, even 12 months. Okay, I'm not expecting we will be having historical data on which we can work on.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Very less data will be there. So we may have to create data again. Okay, so again they have to go through all the surveys and everything. Work is difficult but doable. The fact is uh, and I'm understanding that if someone is talking thinking to create a small venture or startup, he must have a backup, financial backup about it. It is going to take time. You have to take care of 5 or 6 people minimum. So it is initial investment is very big.
So thank you, Chandan, for your answer. Thank you so much.
And honestly, Satya, just to add one more thing, people will take interest in it if we are even if we are able to showcase them the POCs, the proof of concepts. Government is fine with that. I have seen so many friend of mine. I think you also know few of our friends only from IIT. They have given the POCs only. They have got the contract. So that's why I'm saying that even if we create a small uh, POC, proof of concept with example, with proper information, without hiding anything, that from where we have taken the data, how we are proceeding. So as transparent we are, it is a bigger chance that we will get government contracts.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So thanks again to the entire panel members.
All right, then. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, thank you and good
Yeah.
night.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.